Hello students, this is Tarannum Jahan. Hope you people are doing well over there. So here we are here to start with a new chapter from your political science, that is electoral politics. So let's begin with a new chapter for the class 9th, electoral politics. Electoral politics. This is the chapter 4 from your political science for the class 9 and the book that we are following is NCERT. So these are the key points which we are going to study under this chapter. That is, we are going to study about the election report in Haryana, and it was the report regarding the Chaudhry Devilal and Naya Yudh movement, formation of Lokdal political party in Haryana. Then we'll also see the importance of the elections, the meaning of elections, choices getting to a voter, features of democratic elections, and we'll also find out that whether it is good to have a political competition in a democracy or not. Now, in order to understand the elections, the importance of the elections in our country, we should first understand the case study which is given in your textbook. And this is a case study through which you will understand the importance of the elections and the person who is coming into the power, how he is going to play the role for the people. With this case study, you will understand all the things. So the case study is regarding the Chaudhry Devilal and Lokdal party. Now what is this case study? This is a case study of 1982 in Haryana. The people of Haryana were not happy during that period when the elections came. When the policies of the elections came, the people of Haryana were not happy. Chaudhry Devilal was one person who formed the Lokdal party and came up with the struggle for a justice movement and joined hand with the other parties against the Congress. During that period when the British period ended up, Congress was there in the power. So might be he was not happy with the Congress rule, so he came up with a new policy or a new struggle for a justice movement, and he joined hand with the other parties against the ruling government, that was Congress. So Devilal came up with a strong manifesto, like what was the promises that he made, that if he will be there in the power, what all the changes he is going to make in the Haryana. So he promised to give loans to the farmer and the small businessman if he wins the elections. This was the manifesto of Chaudhry Devilal when he was fighting for an election against the Congress. This proved to be a happy and major attraction for the people. Because already people are unhappy with the Congress rule. Now when he is saying all these promises that he is going to give the loans to the farmers and the small businessmen, the people were now happy. They were already unhappy with the state, so due to the Congress. So this was the Devilal's key to success, because the people were happy with the manifesto of this Devilal. So this was a key point that he is going to win. Now he got that I am going to win it because the people are very happy with just my manifesto. Now, with that new manifesto, by providing the loans to the farmers and the loans to the small businessmen, the half of the battle was won by the Devilal, because now he has won the hearts of the people. Now, what exactly happened that in 1987, when there was an state assembly elections, in that elections, Devilal won the huge victory by winning the 76 seats out of 90 seats. All the seats were won by Lokdal party, that was a party of Devilal. With a clear majority he won, the members of State Legislative Assembly announced Devilal as their leader now. He is sworn as a Chief Minister of Haryana and took the charge of Haryana. And he did not waste any time in fulfilling the promises made to the people, but providing loans to the farmers and the small businessmen. He ruled in Haryana for about 4 years, from 1987 to 1991, and again in 1991 Devilal lost the power and the Congress came to power. With this, it is clear that the people select their own representative, because once the person they were happy, suddenly they are not voting for that person and suddenly the new party is coming into the power. That means it is very clear that the people are going to select their representative by their own vision will, whether they are happy with that person, whether they are not happy with that person, they will just remove the person. Now by this case study, what do you understand? What do you mean by elections now? So elections are the mechanism through which the people of the country select their own representative. This gives the surety that the ruling government is commanding with the will and the support of the population. So that is the reason why. So we have seen in the case of the Devilal that the command with the will and the support of the population is going to be happen. If the person is not ruling properly, if the people are not happy with the person who has been elected as a representative, in the next election they are going to throw him out of the elections and the new person will come into the power. So this is what an election is, where the people are selecting their own representative and they see that the ruling government is commanding with the will and the support of the population. Now, why do we need an election in a democratic country? Elections are closely linked to the democracy and we call it as a democratic representative, where the people choose their own representative, as it is very difficult for the people to sit every day and take decision, because India is a very large country, and practically if you see that it is not at all possible for the people to sit together every day and take all the decisions. So in that case the people, they select one representative. That is the reason why we say that it is a people's rule. Democracy is nothing but a people's rule. So here they select one representative on behalf of the people. This representative takes the decision as per the will and the command of the people. So it is most of the democratic countries, people rule through their representative. So these elections, they provide a mechanism by which the people can choose the representative at a regular interval of 5 years and change them if they wish to do so. So we say that in a democratic country like India, elections and the representative form of the government is very important. So that is the reason why the elections are essential in any of the representative democracy. Now, what are the choices the voters are getting during the time of election? So, in an election, the voter makes many choices, like they can choose who will make law for them. They can choose who will form the government and take major decisions, because who will form the government, who is winning within majority of the votes. So they who are choosing this, we the people will choose that who will form the government by giving them the majority votes, and we will select the person who will take the major decisions by giving them the majority votes. So they can choose the party whose policies will guide the government. So we first see the manifestos, what these parties are getting, what kind of a development these people are going to get into our country. According to the manifesto, only we choose the party which policies are quite good for the government and the lawmaking. Only those person will select. So we are having a number of choices in order to make select a one good representative. So out of this, we'll select a one good representative who will form the government and make the law for the country. What makes an election democratic? Or you can say the features of democratic election or minimum condition of a democratic election. Now, how can we say that these are the elections which are performed in a democratic way? There are certain conditions that has to be fulfilled to call it as a democratic elections. The first one is that everyone should be able to choose. This means that everyone should have one vote, discarding with the religion, caste. There should be no discrimination. Each and everyone, all the men and women who are at the age of 21 plus has a right to vote, and each and everyone should have one vote, and every vote should have equal value, whether the without any discrimination. I'm saying equal value for all the votes, whether the vote is given by a woman or a man or any other caste, all the votes should have equal value. Second, there should be something to choose from. Parties and the candidate should be free to contest the elections and should offer some real choice to the voter. For example, see, in India we are having many parties, and out of those many parties we select the party as per the policies, as per the manifesto the party is getting. From each party we select the manifesto. First we see the manifesto, what policies and the development that party is getting for the country. Out of that manifesto we select one party and give the majority vote and win, make give the majority win to that party. But whereas in China you are having only one party, they are having a democratic election every 5 years, they have an election, but only one party stands for an election. No other party has having a right to stand for the election, and only that party wins. That is CPI. So there is no choice for the people to select from many of the parties. They should have an equal choice should be given to the people in order to select out of that. So there should be a fair elections, fair choice should be given to the people. So you have compared it with the India and China. Here we are having a fair choice of selecting a party, whereas in China they are not having a fair choice of an election. So this condition should be fulfilled in order to call it as a democratic election, that the people should be free to contest the election and should offer some real choices to the voter. And here the people should be free to contest in the election. That means that the people should not be forced by any of the party to vote only so and so party only. You are having your own choice. You will vote as per your choice. No one can force you and ask you to vote any party. So even the person who is voting should be free, and even they should have a free choice of the voters, the parties. The third is the choice should be offered at a regular interval. This means that the elections must be held regularly after every 5 years. If the people see that the person who has been elected by them or as a representative is not fulfilling the promises as per the manifesto, then they again have a chance in order to throw that person out of the power and select the new person into the power. So this can be held only when the elections are held at the regular interval of every 5 years. The fourth is the candidate preferred by the people should only be elected. That whoever the person who is getting the majority vote only should be elected as a candidate, as a representative of the people. Fifth is elections should be conducted in a free and fair manner where people can choose as they really wish. Like as I have already discussed this in the second point, it is the same one, the free and fair manner. It should be no one should force any of the people in order to vote any party, and it should have a really they can choose the person as per their wish to whomever they want to give a vote. Now, during the time of elections, we do find the various form of the political competition. The candidate who is standing for an election, even there we find many political competitions, like the competition among the several candidates for the party tickets. Many people are running in order to have a party ticket in order to fight an election. Then the competition for the top position in the party. Then the competition among the political parties. Then the competition between several candidates at the constituencies level. If there is no competition, elections will become pointless. So there should be a competition. They should come up with a new manifestos, new way of ruling the country, that we are going to do this and that. Then only on this basis, when we see the fight against the each parties, we select the best one. So without the competition, the elections become pointless, and this really add a tadka to the elections. Now, demerits of political competition in India. It is nothing but the electoral competition in India. Under the democratic elections, people who stand from the other constituencies, like from the Muradabad ST is standing, from Rampur Shafiqur Rahman is standing, and these people are representing the Samajwadi Party, but they are answerable to the chief minister who is sitting in the Uttar Pradesh. And who is that? Yogi Adityanath. Because BJP got the majority vote, that is the reason why the person who is sitting as a representative of or the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh is Yogi Adityanath, because majority votes have been given to the BJP government. But whereas in the other constituencies in the district level, if we are seeing that Samajwadi Party, somewhere the Samajwadi Party person is sitting, like here ST Hassan is sitting from the Samajwadi Party, in the Rampur Shafiqur Rahman is sitting from the Samajwadi Party. So, but these people are working for the Muradabad people, for the population of the Muradabad. But whatever is happening here, good or bad, they are answerable to the Yogi Adityanath there, because he has sitting there with the majority votes. BJP government is sitting there, so they are answerable whether these people are representing the Samajwadi Party or a Congress party, but still they are answerable to the Yogi Adityanath. So in this way, there can be a conflict between the parties while giving the answers to the different constituencies, parties, leaders. So here, the same thing they are saying, that the under democratic elections, people who stand from other constituencies from the different parties pinpoint fingers on each other. The main aim, why they pinpoint the fingers on each other, is the main aim is that winning the elections by a hook or a crook. These unhealthy competitions make the voting system flop. And even the good people who are really wanted to do something for the country, even they get a bad name just because of these people. So the economy hesitate to participate in the elections. So here, whatever the good people are there, suppose I am a good person, but we always say that politics is a very bad game. The person whoever gets indulged in that game becomes really very bad. So these are the words when the good people talks about. So there are the chances that even the good people, those who are having an ability to stand for an election, they just don't enter this election field just because now it has been treated as a very bad game. It has been treated as a game now. So the economy hesitate to participate. Those who are the people, the good people who can do something for the country, but they hesitate to participate in the elections. So this unhealthy competition dries up the economic growth of the country. So apart from this demerits, the political competition, they also have certain merits. Like if we see that, we all know that though the political leaders is having all the ability to rule, but we can never underestimate how they love to be in the power. Sometimes we select such a ruler that he may not be able to serve the people. Then again in the next election, with the rules and the responsibilities, we again select the other person. In order to serve the country, we again select the new representative because the first one was like a mistake for us. So again, in order to solve that mistake, we wait for the 5 years. Again, they let the election come after the 5 years. We'll throw this person out and we'll select the new person who will definitely rule for the country. So even the people are having a choice, but why? Why we want to throw that person out? Why don't he serve the people properly? So the main thing is that the people select the representative again in the elections. But if the person is serving the people and the people are happy with his role, then why they will select the new person? They will definitely select for the next election the same person. If he'll definitely rule good, he'll definitely serve the person properly as per the promises that has been made in under his manifesto, then again in the next election he will definitely come into the power. So there are the reason that once the power comes, when the person comes into the power, then he has to be forcefully serve for the goodness of the people in order to be in the power for the next year, even for the next 5 year. So he is forcefully to do something good for the people, so that these people, they should be happy with this person, and again for the next 5 years there's again this power come into the power, because who don't want to be in power? Everyone loves to be there in the power. Now, Indian electoral system. Under this, we are going to study that what kind of a process and the procedure we are following in order to call it as a democratic representative. How can we say that our elections are a democratic one? So we are having following procedures through which that proves that our elections are a democratic one. Like we are having an electoral constituencies, each district we are having a Lok Sabha election. So electoral constituencies we are having which are representing the each constituencies. Then we are having a reserve constituencies, even the people those who were left out, who were called as an untouchables by the Gandhiji. For them, the reserve seats have been maintained by the government in the Lok Sabha plus in the Rajya Sabha. So we are having the reserve constituencies. Then we have a voter list. Every 5 years, this list, the voter list, has been revised every time, because after 5 years might be some other person has attained the age of 21, so even he will get a voting rights now. So each and every time we have to revise the list of voter list. So even that has been done in our country. Then the nomination of the candidate, and the person those who are standing for an election, they should file a nomination form. They should fill the nomination form that we are eligible, this is what our manifesto is. So they have to fill the nomination form, then only that person can stand in an election. While filling the nomination form, they have to fill their education qualification under that, because we cannot give the uh, power in the hands of the person who is an illiterate, because what the illiterate can do for our country. So the person should be a quite educated one so that he can take a proper decision for the country. So even the education qualification in the nomination form has to be fulfilled. Election campaign, like how much amount he is going to spend for the campaigning, and where places he is going to campaign, the manifesto, any of the slogan line he has got. So even that he has to mention in the nomination form. Then polling and the counting of the votes will be done last. The way the polling will be done, those things will be decided by the election commission, and the counting of the votes will be the last one. After the counting, you will be having a majority person. Whoever got the majority votes will come into the power. So this is what the procedure we are having in India. We follow this kind of a procedure when we are going with an election of the Rajya Sabha, or we are going with the election of the Lok Sabha. Now let's see our system of elections. Different type of elections in India, or you can say the difference between the general, by-election and midterm election. So we'll discuss one by one in the under the separate side heading. What is general election, what is by-election, and what is electoral constituencies. We'll discuss the different type of elections that happens in India. So the first one is here, the general elections. So under the general elections, elections are held in all the constituencies, that is in the district, in all the constituencies at the same time, either on the same day or within a few days. The first general election which was held in India was in 1952. It was under the 15th Lok Sabha election was held on April-May 2009 in India. Meaning of electoral constituencies. So in India, we are following an area-based system of representative. For this purpose, country is divided into different areas for the purpose of elections. These areas are called as electoral constituencies. Like for example, if I say that Uttar Pradesh is divided into many various constituencies like Rampur, Muradabad, these are the constituencies. From each constituency, one person stand for an election, and that person will be the member of the parliament. Whoever wins from that constituency in a Lok Sabha election will be called as the member of the parliament. So for that, the Lok Sabha election, the country is divided into 543 constituencies. This, the representative elected from each of the constituency is called as the member of parliament or MP. Now what is by-election? Sometimes elections is held only for one constituency. To fill the vacancy due to the death or sudden resignation of any of the member, if the elections have been held in order to fill the vacancy of that person, is called as by-election. Now what is electoral constituencies? Here the country is divided into different areas for the purpose of election. These areas are called as electoral constituencies. Like each area, Muradabad, Rampur, these are the constituencies. So for in Lok Sabha, the elections, the country is divided into 543 constituencies. The complete India is divided into 543 constituencies. And if the person who represent these are called as, the person who is winning from each the constituency is called as member of the parliament. And every vote has an equal value. Same procedure is been followed for the panchayat and municipal elections. Like if we say that in Haryana, Lokdal has won 76 seats. That means that he has won from 76 constituencies. Now their MLA has won from the 76 constituencies. Now what is reserved constituencies? Some seats are reserved for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, because our constitution felt that if they don't reserve the seats, they may again be treated same as it was treated earlier. So the person, whoever comes to the power, will never give them chance to participate in the elections. Might be this can happen. So that is the reason why the 84 seats were reserved for the scheduled caste, and the 47 seats for the scheduled tribes were reserved for the elections in the Lok Sabha. And local parties are now reserved for other backward classes, that is OBC as well. It has been reserved for them. And similarly, one third of the seats are reserved in the rural and the urban local bodies for the women candidates too. So this is called as reserve constituencies, where you are giving the reserve seats for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, OBCs, and the women candidates who were treated as a minorities during that period, who were not given importance during the period before the this in India, these people were treated very badly. The women were not given the rights. The scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the OBCs were not given the rights. So our constitution has given the proper rights and the equality rights as per the other people. So in order to give them, in order to treat them equally, some seats have been reserved in our constitution for these people in the Lok Sabha elections, so that even these people can get a chance to participate in the elections. That is the reason why today we can see the women candidates who are standing for an election, even the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, they even participate in the elections. They even fill the nomination forms. So here our constitution has given them the right to take the part into the elections. Meaning of voter list and its importance in the democratic election. In a democratic election, the list of those who are eligible to vote is prepared much before the elections and given to everyone. This list is officially called as electoral roll, and it is commonly known as voter list. In our country, all the citizens who has attained the age of 21 years of age or above can vote in an election. Every citizen has a right to vote regardless of his or her caste, religion, or gender. It is the responsibility of the government to get the names of all the eligible voter to put on the voter list. As a new person attained the voting age, names are to be added to the voter list. Only the criminal and the person with an unsound mind may not be allowed to vote. Now the nomination of candidate. Anyone who can be a voter can also become a candidate in the elections. The only difference is that to be a candidate, the minimum age is 25 years. Political parties nominate their candidate who get the party symbol and support the party's nomination is often called a party ticket. Every person who wishes to contest an election must fill a nomination form and give some money as a security deposit. Every candidate must make a legal declaration giving his full details of the serious criminal cases, whether it is pending against the candidate or not, details of the assets and the liabilities of the candidate and his or her family should be filled in the nomination form. Education qualification of the candidate should be filled by the candidate in the nomination form. This information must be made public. This provides an opportunity to the voters to make the decision based on the information provided by the candidate. So this is nothing but what we have discussed. The legal declaration about the candidate should be given by the candidate, whoever is standing for an election. Like any serious or a pending criminal case is pending against the candidate should be filled in the nomination form. Details of the assets and liabilities of him and his family should be mentioned in the nomination form. Education qualification of the candidate should be mentioned in the nomination form, and this information should be made public. So this provides an opportunity to the voters to make their decisions on the basis of the information provided by the candidate. Now, why do we need an election campaign in a democratic government? It is necessary to have a free and open discussion about who is better representative, which party will make a better government, or what is good policy. This is what happens during the election campaigns. Such campaigns take place for a week period between the announcement of the final list of the candidate and the date of polling will be announced only after this campaigning. Before the 2 weeks, everything will be end up. Only the campaigning will be end up. After that, the date will be announced that when the polling will be done. After that, you cannot have any kind of a campaigning. So during this period, the candidate contact their voters, political leaders, addresses the election meetings and the political parties, mobilize their support. This is also the period when the newspaper and the television news are full of elections related stories and debates. Successful slogans given by the different political parties in the various elections are like Garibi Hatao by Indira Gandhi, Save Democracy by Janata Party, Land to the Thriller by West Bengal Assembly election, Protect the Self-Respect to the Telugus by N.T. Ramarao. These were the greatest slogans which were brought by many of the candidates, those who were participating in the election. So even you should have a proper and a breathtaking slogan which will definitely take away the hearts of the people. So even you should have a successful slogan when you people are fighting an election or you are candidate in the polling or elections. So these are the election campaigning where you are having a direct contact with the people, where you are announcing your manifesto that what all you are going to do for the people, and you are going you address the political leaders in the election meetings and the political parties. Whoever are supporting you will definitely mobilize you. They will contact you that we are under the support of you. So you get to know that how many political parties are in support of you. In case of laws, these parties may join hand and we can make a big party and can come up with a majority win. So all this discussion and everything will be made only during the period of election campaign. So according to our election law, no party or a candidate can bribe or threat the voters. They can appeal, they cannot ask the votes on the name of caste or a religion. They cannot use the government resources for the election campaigning, and they cannot spend more than 25 lakhs in the constituency of for a Lok Sabha elections or rupees 10 lakhs in the constituency in an assembly elections. And if they do so, their elections can be rejected by the court even after they have been declared to be a winner by the majority votes. All the political parties in our country have agreed to a model code of conduct of elections campaigning. According to this, no party or a candidate can use any place of worship for a election propaganda, use government vehicles, aircraft and officials for elections. Once elections are announced, ministers shall not lay foundation stones or any project taken by any big policy decision or make any promises of providing any public facility. Now, how the polling and accounting of the votes have been done. On the election day, every person whose name is there on the voter list can go to the nearby polling booth. Situated usually in the local school or government offices, they cast their votes. So nowadays, electronic voting machines have been used to record the votes. The machine shows the name of the candidate and the party symbol. Then the independent candidate to have their own symbol allotted by the election official. All the voter must do it to press the button against the name of the candidate she wants to or uh, cast the vote. He or she, whoever wants to cast the vote, he or she has to press the button near the name of that candidate. So once the polling is over, all the EMs are sealed. Then they are taken to the secure place. A few days later, on the fixed date, all the EVMs from the constituencies are opened and the votes secured by each candidate are counted. Then the candidate who secure the highest number of the votes from the constituency is declared elected. Now, what makes the Indian election democratic? How we say that Indian election is free and fair? There are 4 points. Independent election commission we are having, mass level popular participation, acceptance of election result, free and fair elections. So we'll see this one by one and different side heading and we'll discuss about them in separately in detail. Now, Independent Election Commission. In our country, elections are conducted by an independent and very powerful election commission. The Chief Election Commissioner, that is CEC, is appointed by the President of India. But once appointed, the Chief Election Commissioner is not answerable to the President or the government. Election Commission takes a decision on every aspect of the conduct and control of the elections, from the announcement of the election to the declaration of the result. Now let's see the functions of Election Commission. How he controls and look after, how he provides the guidelines to function the elections smoothly. See one by one. It implements the code of conduct and punishes any candidate or a party that violates it. So he prepares certain rules and regulation, and if any of the candidate or any of the party person is going against that rules and regulation, then he is going to be punished by the election commissioner. During the election period, the election commissioner can order the government to follow some guidelines to prevent the misuse of government power. Here many people, they use the government power and ask the people to vote only to their party. So election commission look after that none of the person is using that governmental power in order to ask any person for the votes. When an election duty government officer works under the control of the election commission and not under the government, all the people, those who are working under the election, the people who are under the election duty, they are under the control of the election commission, not under the control of the government or a president, because now he is having a separate power. He is not under the control of the president, not under the control of the government. So now whoever the person is doing the election duty, they have to follow the rules and regulation, the guideline that have been provided to them by the election commission, not by any government. So when the election officials comes to an opinion that the polling was not fair in some booth or even in an entire constituency, he can order for a repoll. Mass level of popular participation. So people participation in election is usually measured by the voters turning out in the polling booth. The number of the people who are coming in order to vote to the polling booth are nothing but the turnout figures of the voters. So in India, how we come to know that how many people have come and voted? So in India, we have taken a graph representative where which section of the people mostly come for a voting. So in India, when we have taken this, we got to know that mostly the poor and the illiterate, that is the poor, illiterate and underprivileged, were the people who have come into the large section to vote than compared to the rich and the privileged section. This contrasts with the Western democracies even we have seen. So we have seen that in the last 50 years, the turnout in Europe and the North America has declined. So in India, the turnout has either remained stable or actually gone up. It has not declined, it has remained stable or gone up. But whereas in the Western countries, it has completely declined. So here there is one more figure which has been given in your textbook regarding how the common people compare, that how their attachment towards the election has changed the economy. So what are the thoughts of the common people are? So here the common people in India attach a lot of importance to the elections. They feel that through elections they can bring a pressure on the political parties to adopt policies and programs that are favorable for the country in order to improve the economy. So here there is a pie diagram has been given which shows that 67% of the people say that yes, we have made a change. By voting, we have really got a pressure on the political parties in order to get the new policies, new manifestos. But here 15 and the 18% said that might be it may have an effect, might be it has no effect. So here, so 67%, mostly the majority of the population says that yes, we do have an effect through the elections. We do get the pressure through the elections on the political party so that they can bring the new policies in order to improve the condition of India. Now there's one more figure which has been given to you to show that how the interest of the voters have been increased in the voting. So here if you see the figure and see that in 1996 around 8% of the people were interested in voting. Rather, in 2004, the interest of the people has been increased to 32%. So the interest of the voter in the election related activities has been increasing over the year. So in 2004 elections, it has been increased to 32%. Then compared to the 1996. Now, acceptance of the election result. See, in India, if the elections are not free and fair, then definitely the party which is having a criminal background or which is coming up with a political power will definitely win. But because we are having a free and fair election, there is always a chance that the other party will definitely lose. Even the ruling party, who is already there in the power, even the ruling party has a chance to lose the power for the next 5 years. So that is the reason why we can say that the India is having a free and fair elections where each and everyone is having a equal rights in order to fight the elections, and equal they are having that the majority will come and win as per the wish of the people. The majority votes have been given by the people, only that party will come and win and form a government. So we are having a free and fair elections where no one can pressurize the parties, or no one can pressurize the people in order to vote any of the particular party. So here the outcome of Indian election speaks by itself. Like how it is going to speak by itself, that how we can say that we are having a free and fair elections is one by one. The ruling party routinely lose elections in India both as the national level plus the state level. So there are the chances, see, the ruling party sometimes even loses and some new other party comes and forms a government. So this is one of the case where we can prove that yes, we are having a free and fair election where the ruling party even lose the elections. Then in a USA, an incumbent or a sitting elected representative rarely lose an election. In India, about half of the sitting MPs and MLAs lose election. So we are comparing about the US and India. In USA, rarely the MPs and the MLAs, those who are sitting in the parliament, lose the elections. They always be in the power. But whereas in India, the MLAs and the MPs, even they lose the elections, because we are having the free and fair type of an election where the people can select their own representative by their policies, how these people are bringing the policies, how these people are getting the improvement in the country. According to that, the people are going to vote, and whoever they feel that they are the best one, they'll give the majority votes to that person. So even the MPs and MLAs have a chance to lose the elections in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha too. The candidates who are known to have spent a lot of money or buying the votes, even that person, the person who is spending more money and even buying the votes, even that person has a fair chance to lose the election. So this proves that we are having a free and fair election where the election commissioner is keeping an eye on such a person who is doing such kind of a criminal act by buying the votes, and he order for a re-elections, repolling. If he gets the news that somewhere something has been happened, say there was something fishy while doing the elections, he will definitely give an order for a re-polls. So here this proves that we are having a free and fair election where even the candidates who have spent a lot of money on buying the votes, even those criminal connections, can lose the elections. Then barring these few disputed elections, the electoral outcomes are usually accepted as a people's verdict. These are the people's choice by defeating the party. Now, the challenges that we face in order to have a free and fair elections in India. So, here there are chances that many of the candidates, those who are very rich, the parties, those who are very rich, then compared to the small parties, because when the elections have been held, we talk that we are having a free and fair election. So, there are the chances that some parties are very small parties and some parties are the very big parties. The big parties might be a very rich one, the small parties might not be that rich one. So in the at the time of the election, these people, they cannot spend much, the small parties, but the big parties, they may spend ravishingly on the campaigning. They may buy the voters in order to give the votes to their party. So there are the chances, even in the free and fair elections, there are the chances that the candidate, those who are very rich, may win with a very good victory, because they are having a lot of money, and they may dominate the small parties by buying the votes. And there are certain places where certain states or certain constituencies where the criminals have a very good victory in the Lok Sabha elections. So there are the chances, though we are talking about the free and fair elections, though we are saying that the criminals cannot come up with a very good victory, but there are certain some part of the country where the candidates of the criminal connection have been able to push out of the electoral race and secure the ticket for the major parties. They may come up into the power, they may form a party over there. So even some of the families, they rent to dominate the political parties. Tickets are distributed to the relative from their families. So if we are not, if any person who is having a criminal background, if he is not able to come into the party just because of his criminal background, if he is not able to participate in the elections, he may give these tickets to his own family members, so that his own family members can come into the power, and on behalf of those families he can play the role of the representative. So there are certain chances there where the tickets are distributed to the relative of his families. Very often the elections offer a little choice to the ordinary citizen. So there are certain chances that if two parties are standing for an election, they are having same policies, same practices. If the people say that if we are voting for the party one, even he is going to do the same for the economy. If we are voting for the party two, even this person is going to do the same with the economy. So sometimes there are the chances that the people, they don't get much choice so to whom to vote, because both the parties might be, they may have the same policies and same practices. So there are the chances that the people get confused while giving the vote, and they may give the vote to the wrong person because of the few choices or the same policies and the practices. The smaller parties are independent candidates. They suffer a huge disadvantage because these small parties are always dominated by the big parties. So these are certain challenges which are faced by the India when we say that we are having a free and fair elections in India, but there are certain challenges which we have to face while having these free and fair elections. So with this, we have finished the chapter, and these are some of the important questions which you can answer with the help of the PPT. So please do try to answer all the questions in your copy with the help of the PPT.